So I thought about um, a client I once had. Let's call him Roger. And Roger's mother was an active practicing drug addict. He never found out who his father was. And when it became, his mother was neglectful and was a terrible circumstance, and Roger ended up in foster care. And he was a really lucky kid because he had great foster parents who, in fact, actually, several years later, worked with the mother. She signed Roger, the consent to be adopted. So he was adopted by this wonderful foster family. And Roger is brilliant, a very, very smart guy. And he went to college and then he went to law school, an Ivy League law school, no less. And he met his wife when they were both law students. They got married, did both of them very well, had one single child. I think it was a daughter. But Roger had this really huge problem. And that was, he had this trauma of childhood, this abandonment trauma. And then he felt like he'd come from kind of another echelon of life. And he was always somewhat fearful people were going to look down on him. They would somehow see that he was an imposter. And here's where the ambiguity came in. He was unable to tell whether people liked him or not. So, for example, he'd go to a dinner party with his wife, and when he would come home, he would say things like, that guy over there from this law firm, he clearly, tried to undercut me. I think he thinks I'm an idiot. And the wife would say, Roger, he was perfectly nice. This is a projection. This is your thing. It's not his thing. And it actually became a marital problem. It's like whatever happened, there couldn't be a phone call that Roger wouldn't think he was being dissed or he was being patronized or something like that. And so here's what that would mean. There was ambiguity for Roger. Am I liked or not? Then he would project his abandonment issue onto the situation and decide, most usually, that he had been ignored or patronized or disrespected. And so he learned just to name that. There it is. Here's abandonment, and that's what my story is about. It's an abandonment story, and it comes up all the time, and it feels absolutely real, but I have to question it because clearly it's not always real. So that, just learning to question the story by naming it, there it is. The abandonment issue was terrific because it does come down the amygdala. And it creates a space for curiosity, to be a little bit more mindful. Like, even if I really think I was being dissed, there's just a possibility I have to entertain that maybe I wasn't. So then the next stage is to say what Roger would say. He'd remind himself, this is something that creates a problem in my life. It's difficult for my wife. It's a point of conflict, and I need to heal it. So that's kind of a reframe. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this because I have to heal this pattern. And then finally, the claiming part, he claimed the ambiguity by saying, the truth is, I'm not sure whether this person liked me or not. But whether they did or not, it all comes down to me. Do I like myself? And can I claim that I'm a good person regardless of what other people think of me? And that was like, he put it up on a piece of paper, he told me, and he hung it on his office wall what to do when the abandonment story comes up. So there you go.